All right, we are live. Welcome back to Stock Tricks with Nick for this week's midweek movers. Uh, First off, wanted to congratulate all the people holding Bitcoin from 3 years ago when it was at just under 20,000, fell all the way to 3,000, and we have seen it come back all the way. And today it broke 20,000. I think it's at 21,300 maybe at this point. Um, Really incredible breakout. We'll be covering that in this stream. But before we get into any of that, I just want to introduce myself. My name's Nick. Um, we do these live streams on either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how the week shakes out. On Friday on this channel, we do a trading recap of all the stocks that I personally traded. And then on Sunday, I put together a breakout watch list and I post that video Sunday morning. Um, and during this video, we'll be covering Bitcoin's breakout, the breakout of what we've been calling the chop box, because the last couple months, a lot of the growth stocks that we've been trading have been very choppy. They get going and then you have the election, or they get going and then you have vaccine news comes out. A lot of headline news bringing the growth stocks back in. But like you probably saw from the thumbnail, we are just getting into the Santa Claus rally. Typically, the last 2 weeks in December are historically good weeks for the market. Um, Going back until Friday and then kind of going through this week, I've had a lot of stocks break out and hold. That's a good sign. But that doesn't mean we take our foot off the pedal and stop doing our homework. So we'll be going through the stocks that I'm still watching that can break out with the rest of this week. If you guys enjoy the stream, please leave a like. That helps me out tremendously, and subscribe to the channel. One thing with this, I have a list of about 15 stocks that I'm going to be going over. I got some stocks requested from StockTwits and Twitter to cover, but please be using the chat to bring up some stocks that you want to see, because I only have about 15, so we can go through as many as you guys want. Quick disclaimer, this is my own personal opinion. None of this is financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. Trading comes with financial risk. This is all for educational purposes only. So here's the stock lineup. We got about 15 stocks here that are setting up and some stocks requested, but have them all written down, so we should be good to go. First, I wanted to jump to Bitcoin, because not just in stocks, we talk about the volatility contraction pattern, VCP, coined by Mark Minervini. That doesn't just work for stocks, it works for basically any financial instrument that has the same volume and kind of price to it. So VCP, volatility contraction pattern, from the peak, you get a strong pullback. Now, typically with stocks, we look for a pullback of 40% or less to get the pattern going, maybe 50% on a really strong name. But with Bitcoin, it's a little bit differently. You see a strong pullback from 19.7 all the way to 3,000, get a rally, but one that does not break through the previous high, and then another pullback. You can see this is on less magnitude, then another breakout, another pullback, this one even on less magnitude. And one thing that you want to be looking for is volume kind of coming in on each of those pullbacks. So just like we talked about with stocks, you could see one pullback, two pullbacks, kind of another pullback here, and then you're buying with a break over the previous high of that mini rally. So you could have bought this at 12.5, traded it just like a stock, and you'd be well on your way to a big winner. So just wanted to cover that. You can use the trading patterns that we cover for Bitcoin or whatever. For Bitcoin personally, I just put about 2 to 5%, depending on the week, of my salary into it. Just a good hedge for the rest of the things that I trade and some other long-term investments. All right, so that is Bitcoin. Let's jump to the E-Trade chart for the rest. Let me switch this up. All right, so we will go to FFTY. This is the chop box that we were talking about earlier. So this is Investors Business Daily's top 50 stocks. And you can see from September 2nd started its pullback, but since then traded in this box range. I could highlight it, but basically you get the point through here. And you if you followed along last week, I said, "Oh, we're getting out of that box, finally starting to break out." And then the next day, we just pulled back in. It's been a frustrating time to be a breakout trader, that's for sure. But it does look like we're finally getting out of that box and doing so with volume. Just like anything else, you want to see breakouts with volume, pullbacks with lighter volume. So that's a great sign that we're getting into some Santa Claus rally right now. One stock that, before we get into the breakout watch list, one that I wanted to cover was Shopify. This is one that I've been talking about on Stock Twits throughout the entire move. This one, let's see here, had a really strong move, 220%. You could even call it, I don't know, 240 through there. But you see this long-term base starting to form up. And this is what? July, so middle of July or early July, starting that base while a lot of the other stocks were still running, setting up, and then after this last rally pulled back, we got really interested in that, and you can see. Let me zoom in. A couple of these days highs were right at the same price or within a couple dollars. And another thing that you could see is volume got extremely light in that tail as it formed that cup and little handle there. Volume got really light in the handle, and then today I bought with a breakover. I got filled a little bit later. It was like 113. I think I was breaking over this high is when I put the trade on, but got the volume that you like to see in a breakout, and because this is such a long base. Typically, the longer the base, the longer the breakout. But it might pull back, start another wave in this. Who knows? But this looks like a strong breakout in the making. So that's Shopify. Wanted to cover that quickly. Now on to the stocks that haven't broken out that you should take a look at. First is ALGN. I do have a position in this stock already. You can see my green candle or my green flag right there. Bought with a break over the high from November 16th. Since then, really strong action. Sold about 20% of it into some strength here. Since then, pulled back, is sitting right on that 8-day exponential moving average. And you could see volume on that breakout move is heavy. And then even as it pulled back, very, very light volume. And that pullback wasn't anything crazy either. Within 5%, 4.8%, really strong. So after this kind of move, 41% move, and then a little rally, this could get going again. We had two. Is this a double inside day? I think it is. Let's see, low. Yeah, double inside day. So the highs and the lows of the previous candle are outside of the, I guess the highs and the lows today are within the highs and the lows of the previous day, and same with the day before. So that just shows you really, really nice price acceptance. Volume today was the lightest it's been. So a possible buy would be, you could take it with a break over today's high, but it's not much different. Might as well wait. Break over 522.34, the high from December 14th would be a buy point. It's ALGN. Next we have AVTR, and keep throwing stocks in the chat. We'll get to those right when I finish the list. So don't let me talking hold you back. So AVTR, not one of the fastest moving names, and this is one that's been on my watch list for a while. Did trade this through here, but it's still a quality setup. Mark Minervini talked about this on his webinar yesterday. So the big traders are watching it as well. and that's always what we want to be doing. So you see a strong breakout here on nice volume, very light volume coming through as this waves out. You have two pullbacks. Let's see, 8%, X1, 5%. So very, very light and getting tighter. The last couple of days, volume has been a little bit heavier, but both green days, and you're seeing the low of the day touch that 8-day exponential moving average right now. So break over yesterday's high, 27.86 could be a buy point. But again, this one's not going to move as fast as some of the names that we talk about, but solid setup and maybe a good thing that you're not just always trading the fastest names, one that you can set and just kind of let your stop and your profit taking strategies handle the trade for you. On the opposite side, we have FCEL. This one, it's a little bit early to trade, but it's setting up so nice and has had such a strong move beforehand. I wanted to bring it up today. So this breakout through here, 340%, and then from the high, we covered this, what's it called, blow off top right here before, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to be trading this stock in a couple weeks. It's just marking a short-term high. So from that point down, we had a 42% pullback. Typically, that calls for a full base to be put in, which is 6 to 10 weeks, depending on the name. This is a lot sooner than that, just about 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks. But you do have the 20-day simple moving average coming up. It looks like two lows, the low of Monday and the low of today, both found support right around there. Today you had an inside day, today you had an inside day, volume a little bit lighter than yesterday. And volume on that breakout was very, very heavy. On the pullback, the red days, lighter. So this is getting tight. What you could do is buy with the break over the previous day's high, or if we open lower, a break over today's high. So 845, 868, one of those. Can't really get a diagonal on that. But a break over one of those highs depending on where we open tomorrow. And then a rally back to the previous high would be a 30% move. Has a lot of power to it. Might need another quick pullback to set up a little bit lower, but we want to keep this on the watch list. Next, we have LMB, and this is a very lightly traded stock. So if you're trading with a large account, maybe not the one you take, but something that I put a small trade on today. Zooming out here, you could see 200-day, 50-day, 28, all in the correct order. Let's see, what kind of move did we have? 250% move in just a couple months. This would have been a really nice entry point, but just after earnings, that maybe been a little weird. 50% move on that though. But what I was looking at, we had a pullback to the 8-day exponential moving average. That held, rallied up. And then we had one day where we closed under, but looks to be holding that again. Today's low of the day was right above that 8-day, and we broke the previous day's high. So I bought with a break over the previous day's high. Light position on it because only traded 60,000 shares today. But one with strong name and holding that 8-day really well. So if it breaks through the previous day's low, so today's low, that's my stop. I'm out. And that would only be I put my stop at yesterday's low. So it's about 7%. Next we have LQDT. This one's probably a little bit early, but had double inside days. So I wanted to mention it. Had a move up, what is that, 87% in just a couple days, then just excuse me, forming that bull flag through here. I don't think I'm going to be personally trading this, but double inside days, volume lightening up, maybe it just rips and takes out the high 1670, the high from Monday. Maybe that's a viable point. I'm going to be giving it more time, but one to throw on your watch list. Next, we have LTHM. This has been in a very strong uptrend, 200-day, 50-day, 28, all in the right order. I would have liked this setup a lot more if these candles weren't so wide. So you can see I took a trade on this breakout. And this was then the next day, everything got choppy in the market, pulled back, wanted to cut some exposure. So got out on that day. I think a little bit above my entry. So basically zero trade. But has since cooled down a little bit, volumes coming in, holding right around that 8-day. And today we had higher highs, higher lows, and a close over the previous day's high. What you would be looking for is an open and then buy with a break over that high 1718. Otherwise, I would love, again, I'm patient until the stock sets up. So if this for the rest of the week and going into next week just kind of trade sideways or maybe flashes down and undercuts some of these previous lows, that would be even better. Knock those stops out. People that bought on this bounce, maybe knock the stop out there. Sets up the trade a little bit better. And then one thing that I wanted to go over is when Shopify started breaking out. Apple broke out yesterday. And today, Amazon, we'll cover Amazon in a little bit, but a lot of these bigger names are starting to move as well. So last couple of weeks, it's only been pharmaceuticals. Yesterday was solar, but a couple smaller kind of businesses, smaller stocks were taking off. Now the big names are starting to get going. So kind of a catch-up play would be Netflix. Same kind of choppiness to it, but you're getting a lower entry point in that chop. The lower you are in a base when you're buying, the more likely you are to get stopped out. But if it does take off, then you're getting filled at a lower price and making more on the trade. So you're just kind of weighing those risk and reward. What I would be looking for with this, you can see volume super light through here. Nice rally day on Monday that did have higher volume. Relative strength starting to come up. Average true range really tightening up through here. So ideally, again, a couple more days sideways or down, maybe a touch of the 8-day. But if we just open lower and then break through the high, that would be your buy point. What is that? 527.38. Next, we have PDD. This one, I bought after this undercut of previous lows and a reversal. Shouldn't have taken it off the next day. I was just trying to lighten up exposure, but I don't know, bad trade. Since then, it did rally. It's come back in a little bit, basically right where I bought it. And then today had higher highs, higher lows. Light volume on today's work, but it is sitting just right above this volume shelf right here. So some support there. What you would be looking for is a break over, I guess, not on Monday's high, 146.97, call it 147, to get a really low entry in this, and then you could keep a stop within 6% of the low on Tuesday. So that's more of a pullback buy on a name that had that strong breakout. What was that? It was 117%. So really strong name that's giving you a chance to pull back buy. Good possibility there. Another pullback buy, and maybe one that's a little early, is Palantir. So with IPOs, you have to handle them a little bit quicker than you would a traditional stock. But this one was a really hot name for a while, up 200% in just a couple weeks. Did have that strong sell-off, pull back 36%. So again, when you pull back over 25%, typically you let a base start to build, which would entail another kind of like couple, just like that kind of pattern. But with a really strong name like this, with the 20-day simple moving average coming up to support, and the volume getting so light on this kind of last week of trading, one to look at. And another thing that I liked with the candle today is the low today, 25.11, undercut the previous low on 12.10 of 25.15. So I had a stop buy order actually in, where if it broke underneath the low, and then if it took out the day's highs, that would have been a possible buy point. Didn't take that trade today, but looking for a buy over today's high, 26.16, to get a nice low entry point. And then you just use just under that low. You could get 5% stop on a name with some real power. 10% pullback after 100% move isn't too much of a pullback. I mean, ideally, the lighter of a pullback that you can get, the better. That just shows there's very, very few sellers at that time. So when we do see a pullback of, I don't know, 35% or so, that shows that there's going to be some disagreeing on price, and that's why you see the breakout pullback, kind of mini rally, and then another pullback. When stocks only pull back 5% off their highs or 10%, the only people getting out are short-term traders, maybe even day traders. So when that happens, and you ideally, if you pull back to say an 8-day exponential moving average, 20-day moving average, whatever moving average you use, and that pullback is light and on a light magnitude, that's your ideal kind of setup that you're looking for. So next we have Peloton, and this is already breaking out, but I wanted to cover, I'm not sure if I've talked about this before, but in Market Wizards, really good book, recommend it if you haven't read it yet. I forget who it was, but they were talking about when you're holding on to a position and you get some really bad news in the market and your stock doesn't go down as much as you would expect, or it even goes up. That's time to press the gas and either buy more or just stay in the trade. I want to bring this up with Peloton because I had this on a watch list. You can see I actually bought and kind of sold last week, but I was hesitant to put this on the breakout watch list on Sunday because we got the vaccine news that Pfizer was going to approve the vaccine. So just like this pullback, I figured, okay, more vaccine news, some really great news, not for Peloton because that's a stay-at-home stock. But I figured we'd have another pullback. When it didn't pull back on Monday and actually broke over those previous highs, that would have been the time to press. I was in other stocks at the time, should have taken advantage of it because that bad news and then recovery, that is a really strong move. And you could see this was already set up really well. We had a shakeout through here, shook me out. The next day reclaimed the 8-day, the 50-day, and just kind of traded sideways on that Friday. So this was set up to go. We had the vaccine news, which I would have assumed would hurt Peloton. The fact that it didn't, you could have bought at a break over Friday's high, and you're already up 12%. And look at these closes, right? The high of the days, good volume coming in. So just wanted to throw that idea out there. If you're holding onto a stock and you get really bad news and the stock doesn't go down at all, not a reason to sell, maybe even a reason to add. And vice versa. If you're holding on to a stock and say they beat earnings, they had some great news, and it doesn't take off or it starts pulling back, you know you should get out of that stock right away, at least a portion of that stock right away, because good news should be pushing the stock further higher. If it's starting to pull back, time to get out. So just wanted to kind of talk through that idea. Next, we have SPT. This is one that shook me out today. I was trying to do a similar kind of setup to what is it, Shopify. We had a base forming since kind of mid-October, so not as long of a base, but you could see this has been in a really strong uptrend all year. Come on, what percent are you? 300%. So exactly the type of power that we're looking for. And month and a half, 2 month long base to be built. It gapped up. I don't buy gap ups, but what it did was it came back in, undercut the high, and that's when I put the trade on, where if it broke over that high, I would have bought. And it did, rallied a little bit. I took off half at the close, basically at my entry price, because I put a pretty large size on this trade. Did not get going, so I took off half just because got a free look at half of it, had a good size position, but thankfully I did, because the next day we undercut the previous low by a little bit and I got stopped out. Now kind of on the outside of it, if you're not me, you're looking at this, ooh, perfect, undercutting the previous low, closing near the high of the day. We're above where that channel is trading. This stock is set to break out, and we got better volume coming out than some of these pullbacks. See the low of the day also just above that 8-day exponential moving average today. So I'll be looking to try and get in this stock again. If we can open lower instead of gapping at the open and then having to come in, and then you get that choppiness to it. If we open just lower and then take out the highs, that would be a possible buy. That's 54.20. And SPT. All right, next we have SSTK, Shutterstock, very, very strong uptrend, 250, and the 8 and the 20 are right alongside each other. Wanted to point this out because we did, let's see, what kind of pullback was this? Only 11% pullback from the highs after a 96%, call it 100% move. So very little pullback. And forming up a nice pivot point. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 bars right alongside each other. The high of that would be 69.48, so a break over that is a possible buy point. If you break over that point, you're above that 20-day simple moving average as well. And just through this kind of volume shelf there, you see average true range coming in, volume lightening up. Today, very light volume. So definitely one to watch if you have the cash available. I go over a lot of stocks. I don't trade every single stock that I watch, but I'm trying to build the good habits, trying to notice what's working and what's not, and just getting that repetition, seeing as many charts as I can. TBK is one that we've been talking about for a while now. Really tightening up. We had a 70-80% move through here. Got that 250, 8 and 20 right alongside each other. Had a larger volume day yesterday as we reclaimed the 8-day exponential moving average. So we pulled down on what seemed like higher volume and then reclaimed those with even more volume. This one red candle is concerning. I'm not sure exactly what happened with that, but that's a lot of volume escaping there. But nice tight range where, let's see, the whole range is only 5%. So break over the high there, 49.15. Yeah, 49.15 is a buy point, and then stop under the lows, 5%. Nice tight stop. Next, we have TXG. I am already in the stock here, but you got that nice strong uptrend, and then from the high, I think we've talked about this one before too. Pulled back 25%, call it, and as it's trying to escape this lower base, we're having a couple pullbacks, now 3 pullbacks. and drifting a little bit higher to it. Today's low hit the converging of the 20-day and 50-day simple moving average, and we're sitting right at the 8-day exponential with the close. So with this kind of move, shaking a lot of people out with those pullbacks, a break over 155, the high from Monday, would be a buy point there. And last on my list is ZS, Zscaler. This one is just a bull flag. So earnings really strong move. I think that was 20, I want to say 25%. Yeah, 26%. Strong move up, lots of volume coming in, and quickly you got price agreement because this is moving sideways, letting the 8-day exponential moving average catch up, provide some support. Volumes tightening up, ATRs already coming in. So couple of ways to play this. I might just, unless we do get a stronger pullback, so set your alert kind of like under the low here to see if you could get a pullback buy later. But if this goes right now, I'm waiting for a break over all-time highs, 189.65 there. So those are the stocks that I wanted to cover. Thank you for subscribing. Let's cover some of the ones from the chat. So we have CALX. This was on the breakout watch list this week. You're not buying at this point. It's already extended, but let's cover kind of like what the chart did to break out. You had strong earnings, strong earning volume coming in, and I bought that breakout there, got stopped out at my entry, and this kind of set up. Had a rally with a little bit more volume, pulled back on lighter volume, a nice undercut of some previous lows on 12.9, quickly reclaimed those 20 and the 8, then a sideways day, and then on Monday, just from the gun, took off, broke through Friday's high, broke through the local high here, closed near the high of the day. That's a bullish sign. Tons of volume on a non-earnings day coming in here. Lots of institutional buying. That's not me and you buying. And then good follow through yesterday. Today we got our first red candle outside of the upper Bollinger Band. Typically, that's a time to take some profit. You don't want to lose your entire position with that because that's a very tight candle. So people are agreeing on the price right there. But if you bought, say you bought on the local high, you're up 15%. You want to book some profit and probably move your stop to your entry. Then you have a risk-free trade. So that's CALX. Definitely not buying at this point. It's overextended. It's not overextended. It's extended from the base. Don't want to be buying extended from the base, but a good chart to look at, to learn from, and apply to the next trade. REGI, this was also on the breakout watch list. This on Monday we had a pullback, undercut the previous high. So this is where I got the idea for the SPT trade that unfortunately stopped me out. Still a good trade and I take it again, but this was setting up a really nice base after a strong breakout, and it kind of got going already, gapped up at the open on Monday, pulled back under the previous day's high, and then recaptured that high. So that could have been the buy point. If this was the SPT trade, that would have been my buy point. And then we closed higher instead of closing lower than the open as we did in SPT. Got that continuation on tons of volume the next day. And even today, pulled back, but rallied to close basically at the high, near the high. Really strong setup after a good base following a strong breakout. So those are the names we're trying to trade. But again, you're not buying at that extended price. Next, we have apps, APPS. This has been a super frustrating trade, but typically when they get frustrating, once they do make that final shake, they take off with speed. Looks like this is starting to go now. Good volume in that move higher. Let's see. Yeah, already 7% kind of away from the buy point. I'm just doing some measuring myself to see. Yeah, I wouldn't be taking the trade at this point. Sure, could run 30%, but we're always just trying to find good risk reward, find our nice tight entries where we can manage our risk, and then do that over and over again. We're not going to get rich on one stock for the rest of our life. We're looking for quality setups, take good risk reward, and then just roll the dice. No one knows if the stocks are going up or down. And by kind of telling yourself that when a stock does start working against you, you don't have your ego attached to it saying, no, I've done all the research. It has to go up. If it's going down, it's going down. It doesn't matter how much research you did. So kind of the less that I put emotionally into a trade, the easier it is to be like, oh, I was wrong. So I'm out. And the quicker you can get out of a losing trade, the better. Let's see, what else? ALGM, covered that. BLFS. Yeah, this one's just really strong uptrend. Maybe gave you one buy point on November 4th, but I mean, this is just bouncing between the upper Bollinger Band and the 8-day exponential moving average. And you don't want to you don't want to take this off. Maybe you're selling some into strength, but this is a winning stock. You don't want to get out of a winner this early. Um, to if I was in a winning stock like this, what I would be looking for if I were to get out completely is a really strong up day on high volume, because that's when you get that kind of euphoric buying going in, and those typically mark short-term tops. So if you get something like that, then yeah, you can take the rest of the trade off, book your profits, be really happy. This is just a strong uptrend that maybe you have enough profits that you let it kind of pull back to the 20-day, test a pullback there, and then get going again. CURLF. Haven't heard of this one before. So I don't know what this guy does, but 200-day, 50, 28, all in the right order. Good volume the last couple days, moving up. Let's see, let's get a measure. Is a cheaper stock. 75%. Ooh, I am gonna add this to the watch list. What kind of volume? 2 million? Thank you for recommending this. Really nice volume through there. Um, kind of squatted today. Maybe needs a couple days work, just pulling down, tightening up again. Because if you're buying a break over today's high using the day's low as your stop, 6%, not terrible, but again, we're trying to take that good risk reward. So we want those stops as tight as possible. Definitely going to be adding this to my watch list. Thanks for bringing this up. Really, really light volume on those couple pullback days. A little bit heavier on this first one. Maybe some of that volume's running it back up. Cool. DraftKings, yes, this was one I was looking at. At this point, I'm very heavily invested. I want to be pretty careful putting on new trades, but this was beautiful one that you definitely could have. You had 3 days right here that set some close highs. Yesterday was an inside day on lighter volume, so a break over Monday's high 51.54 would have been a buy point right there. Tons of volume coming in with that move, closing near the high of the day, right at the upper Bollinger Band, right at this previous high. So, I mean, technically this would be a buy too. Break over 53.72. Did we do that? Yeah, we closed over that. Oh wait, no, 50. Yeah. So that could have been a buy point as well. This looks really strong. Pulled back right to that 20-day. Did have a nice undercut day to shake everyone out. And then did try to break out, squatted, undercut the squat day, another shakeout. So if you're not getting super upset at the name here, and when things get really quiet, look at that volume getting really quiet, then you're clear-minded. You have your buy stop at the high of that day. It's taken off. Really quality setup there. FOCS. Yeah, so this was, I think, oh, no, this is different. Let's see, take a look. Really strong move, 200 an uptrend, 58, 50, 28. So you like to see this go the other way. So the first kind of pullback day is on the highest volume, and then things get really quiet. Inside day, today, lighter volume. You like that. ATR is coming in a little bit. What was this move? 15%. I might give this a couple days, just because the volume was selling volume was coming up through here. I know some of this on this day is probably the breakout and then getting squatted, but want to give this a little bit more time, just because it's only a 15% move up. Doesn't have as much power, although like through here it had power. Zooming in here, this is a nice VCP setup right here. Those pullbacks, those quick shakeouts, probably a really frustrating stock to trade on any of these days. And then you did get that breakout with volume, exactly what you like to see. So, I mean, if you're in the stock already, this is a nice move. You're holding through here, seeing if some buyers step in. Oh, wait, ALGM, my bad. Sorry, Jason. Let's take a look at that. IPO, nice base through here. 43%, pulled back. So starting to get a little bit tighter. I might give this one a little bit more time too, just because today we had an uptick in selling volume. Maybe some of that's running it back over the 8-day, but I will be honest, IPOs are not my strong suit unless they really get tightened up over a little bit longer of a period of time. So I'm not gonna say too much on this one. Don't want to give you wrong information or bad information there. Yeah, sorry about that, Jason. All right, let's get to some names that StockTwits and Twitter wanted to see. So Tesla, talk about a long base forming up and then breaking out. The longer the base, the more frustrating the base, the stronger the breakout typically. And this one just refuses to fall down. Had some gap down days, then reclaimed the 8-day, moved down, reclaimed the 8. Another undercut of some previous lows, still sitting right on the 8-day exponential moving average. So if you're in it at this point, before the S&P announcement, maybe you're selling some with a close under the 8-day, because that 8-day seems to be doing really well to hold closes over. So that could be a time to take some profit on that. Otherwise, this will need a little bit of time to set up if I'm going to be taking a new trade on it, just because we had all this volume come in. ATR is just starting to tighten up. Unless we're breaking over the previous high, it's going to be hard to get good risk reward. Maybe we get a day where it pulls under and breaks under that low, just kind of how I talked with Palantir. If we break under that low and then recapture it on the same day, that could be a buy point later on. So let's see, what is that low? 566.34. Let me set a little 566.34. So this will send me an alert to my phone and on the screen if we break under that low. So I love setting alerts is something that I just started doing about a month ago, and now I have 100 something alerts. Always set them below and above some ranges that I'm looking at, and then I'm not going through 100 charts during the day, coming into a new idea. Should I trade this? Should I not? I already have the idea set up the night before, the alert set the night before, maybe the morning of, and then if the market gives me what I'm looking for, then I can take the trade. But I want to be prepared going into a trade, not calling audibles. Speaking of being prepared, NEO, kind of the same idea as I just covered with Tesla, had an alert under the low here from 12.2, seeing almost got there. That would have been an ideal pullback buy right there. Did not get that point, and you could see it kind of rallied up 12%, recaptured the 8-day exponential moving average, but a little bit lower volume the last couple of days. So maybe we do need another pullback to the 50-day to set everything up, or maybe we rip. Who knows? But you want to see big buying volume, like big volume coming in when we're breaking back out. This is kind of the opposite side of that. So maybe we do pull back, and maybe I can get that pullback buy in a little bit. But that's NIO. FRPT, Fresh Pet. Yep, this is one that I've traded as well. That undercut got me the previous day, and now it just kind of wiggled, squatted today. Squats are the worst because you're all prepared. You buy with a breakout, and things are looking good, and then you're feeling good, just gets pulled right back down, and the close under the kind of that entry point and the low of the day, or the open price, sorry. Yeah, with this, the selling volume yesterday, the volume's probably coming in. This will need a little bit of time to set up because you'd have to break over this high, and at that point, you're not going to get, let's see what kind of, that's only 4%. Still, this trade's in tight enough range like this, pull back, pull back, pull back, go. If we give it enough time, we'll find a better setup, I think. Let's see. I was going to talk about, so Microsoft and Amazon really quick, very similar to it. Same with Apple. A lot of the big names have been just base building, base building, base building. You can see the VCP setup right here. So 16%, 11%, this might be a little bit, 8%, 3%, boom, breakout right there. So that's the start of it. Look at how tight those Bollinger Bands are. That's awesome to see. Close near the high of the day, above the upper Bollinger Band and on a constricted one. So Microsoft coming out right now. That looks good. It's not too far extended. So open below, breakout over the high could be buyable. Amazon, same kind of story. You get those pullbacks, 20%, 15%, 11%, 5%. Nice little pivot, 2 days highs right there. Buy with a break over that. Close right at the high of the day, up 2.4%. Maybe this starts going again. So if you're looking for a good time to buy a long-term position in Amazon, break out of a VCP setup is clean. Two more that I got. Let's see if you guys had any others, but Zoom. Yeah, this one traded this last kind of breakout here. Pulled back to the 8-day. Things got really quiet. Volume got really quiet through there. ATR came in. Broke out. Sold some into strength. Got stopped out of the rest. And glad that I got stopped out when I did because you could see this just, once it, a pullback to the 50 days, fine, especially for a strong stock like Zoom. It was only 23% at the time. But then you get the vaccine news. And once you get a stock starting to live under its 50-day simple moving average, it has all this volume above where people got in at these prices, and a good portion of them haven't sold just because not every person has strict stop losses set. So anytime you have some overhead volume there, when you do get rallies, typically they get sold off because people are taking the stock or taking the trade at their entry price to say, oh, it wasn't a losing trade. I may have wasted 2 months on it. I may have been down a lot, but because I held until my break even, it wasn't a bad trade. I try and sell right away if I'm wrong. I think that's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, once you get a stock living under its 50-day, and a lot of traders say this, there's just better setups, less resistance up top, especially right now. We're seeing a lot of breakouts going into the Santa Claus rally. At Zoom, Twilio, this is the last one I had. Nice little cup and handle. This could have been really viable. Should have put that. Oh, that did it last week. Yeah, break over that high, nice and clean, big volume coming in, and then lighter volume the last couple of days as we're just kind of drifting. Maybe another possible buy if we get to the 8-day exponential moving average and ATR comes in a little bit. But look at this nice cup, little handle, and boom, we go. And this is another one that's been in a strong uptrend. All right, I think Snow. That's another IPO. I don't. Dang, that really got going. 80%, down 30%. Big. The volume on that day is coming back up. Yeah, definitely need some time to set up for my type of trading, but so. Oh, on the pullback where it undercut. Nice, nice. All right, so that is Stock Tricks with Nick, the midweek movers. If you enjoyed the stream, please leave a like. That helps me out tremendously. Comment on how I'm doing, anything that I can improve on. I've been trying to improve every live stream we do. And then tune in Friday for the trading recap. So far, it's been a good week, so let's keep the pedal to the metal the next couple of days. And give me a follow on StockTwits and Twitter. Have a great rest of your week, and see you Friday.